What would be an approach for I'm going to give you two scenarios. An untrained female or male who's listening to this and going, man, I'm 40 and I've been doing marathons and now I have dad bod. What am I going to do? So I'm doing a lot of cardio. And then the second is I am fully untrained. I no longer can wear a crop top.
So the first thing I'll say is everyone should begin lifting weights roughly the same way. The rates of progression will differ. How much interest people will develop in it, and thus how much more of it they want to do for extra credit will differ. But the beginning is roughly the same. So I'd give a couple of tips on this. One is generally you want to choose body weight, barbell, dumbbell, anti-gravity exercises as the preferred method of training. That doesn't mean that's all you do, but you should be interested in doing things like bent over rows, deadlifts, squats, overhead presses, upright rows,
Why?
stiff-legged deadlifts,
Why those
lunges.
exercises?
Yeah. Because the exercises train large swaths of muscles at the same time, and they're insanely economical. I could tell you, isolate your delts, isolate your biceps, isolate your forearms. You'll be in the gym for an hour and be like, Jesus Christ, this is stupid. These exercises also replicate the fundamental movement patterns that humans are able to do, that from which jumping and running and walking and pushing and pulling and putting your luggage up on the top compartment all stem from. They require a lot of balance, and they are easily progressible, easily loadable. They also encourage you to move, and this is sort of tip number 2, through a very full range of motion. If you're preparing yourself for life doesn't end below 90 degrees in the squat. And if you find yourself below 90 degrees in the squat and you haven't been training there, you are two things: less strong in that position and more likely to get hurt if you have to try really hard in that position. So these compound exercises, generally, some isolation work is totally fine. Free weight exercises, another benefit is they greatly encourage the development of balance, but not balance in a circus seal kind of like, look, I can stand on a Bosu ball, no application of this whatsoever, but here I go. It's fun for TikTok, but I assume if you're in your 60s, hopefully you're not on TikTok. I mean, maybe you are. What am I judging what the Chinese government does with their time? So the compound free weight exercises are testing your balance while you're trying really hard through a full range of motion. That transfers to activities of daily living to an immense degree. And it makes you have the kind of balance that, look, if I can walk out with some amount of weight that challenges me, squat it 10 times up and down to completely full depth under full control and rack it. If I'm walking down an airplane aisle and they get some turbulence and I have to grab the seats and kind of support myself, man, it was a joke. It's a joke. But if I can't do that, I might fall into somebody's lap. And I pretend to fall into people's laps on airplanes because I don't get any physical touch at home and I'm just desperate for it. But
Everybody wants to ride on an airplane with Dr. Mike.
I actually have my own fleet of airplanes. I don't like to talk about how I'm a trillionaire too often, but it comes up always. It's annoying to count all this money is what I'm trying to say.
It's just terrible.
But so that's some of the reasons why these kinds of exercises are preferred. Now, I'm not going to say don't do machines, but if you learn to lift with compound barbell, dumbbell, and bodyweight exercises, and then you go and use machines, you're automatically the best at every machine, no problem. But if you learn to lift with machines, then the transfer to real world is tougher, and the transfer to training that occurs in a free weight environment is also tougher. So it's kind of like you might as well make things a little bit challenging up front, and then you'll have a very, very easy time of it. So I would say those are the kinds of movements you should be prioritizing. I would say training in repetition range of sets of 5 to 10 is a good idea. Anything less than 5 is super cool, but for beginners, it's not enough repetitions to train their nervous system to learn the technique very well. Like if I trained you in a karate move and I said, okay, here's how it works, practice it. You did it 3 times and I was like, boom, you're ready. Let's go do a tournament. You're like, well, hold on a sec. If you did a lot of reps of it, you would be more able to replicate that in real life and in future training sessions. You don't want to do too many more reps than 10 to begin with for a few reasons. One is when you're learning technique, and the next point is you have to get the technique very good. You should become a technique stickler. Technique is the basis on which everything else is built. It's on the basis on which you build all of your muscle and all of your strength and ensure that your injury risk is as minimum as possible. Anything much more than 10 reps, especially more than 15 for beginners, tends to be so fatiguing and so painful that they start to just get the reps in versus worrying about quality and technique. And so sets of 5 to 10 are enough reps to learn, but not so many reps that you start learning the technique wrong because you're practicing it wrong. Because after rep number 12, you're like, dude, I'm just trying to stand up and down. I don't even care what my back or chest position look like in the squat. And then also, especially for Caucasian women in their later years, sets of 5 to 10 are heavy enough to robustly build bone mass and heavy enough to robustly build a lot of joint connective tissue integrity. Sets of 15, 20, 30, etc. definitely do those things well, but not as well. And so because of that agglomeration of factors, sets of 5 to 10 are my preferred method of training beginners. And I mean for the first several years of training. Compound large muscle mass exercises in sets of 5 to 10 with a big onus on range of motion and total control. The eccentric has to be controlled. You can do the concentric, the up phase of an exercise explosively or not. It doesn't much matter. But controlling the eccentric, that doesn't mean going slow. It just means never deactivating your muscles and just dropping into a squat, for example. That's the core. And then the last thing I would say is you should begin with very few sets. I would arguably say begin with one set of everything when you show up to the gym. A lot of people think it's kind of comical for two reasons. One, it's embarrassing because you did one set of everything. You look around and make sure no one noticed you and you fuck off.
But
And they're
how many
like,
days? How many days of this?
yes. So I'll get to the days in just a sec.
Maybe you go in and you do
Yeah.
one
Well, so
set
in
and
that first
that helps.
workout, because you just did one set of everything that was a little bit challenging for you, you just didn't feel like you really challenged yourself a ton. You're not super sore. You're a little sore. You're not super beat up, but that's part of the plan. We don't want to get you so messed up that you're so sore that you don't train for 2 weeks. And then what? I don't even know what the plan is after that. To your question of how many times a week, I would say very many people should begin with 2 time a week training. That is, you training whole body both times a week, say Monday and Thursday. It's doing something like, some close grip pressing, some rowing, some upright rowing, some shoulder pressing, some hip hinge work, and some squat and lunge work. And that's it. You go home. One set of each of those movements with good technique, with a load that, here's the rule for how much weight to use. A weight that is a little tough. It resists you. You can tell you're lifting. Like, it's not like picking up a Coca-Cola can and going, wee, no problem. It should be like, ooh, okay.
Dr.
Like,
Mike, you don't drink Coca-Cola, so you wouldn't really know.
I never let that poison enter my body. I actually don't consume anything corporate, but it's for another discussion. So it should be challenging, but something you have to be able to do good technique with. And that is picking the weight. And then if you train twice a week, just begin at twice a week. And some people will say, well, I want better results. I want to go more times. What I would say is this: do only twice a week lifting for the first several months. If you like it, if you really like it and you really want more, expand your program to 3 times a week. And then later, you're going to learn stuff. You're going to be in the social media space about how lifting works. You're going to start to understand concepts, principles. You're going to go and download the RP Hypertrophy app. I'm under contract to mention that at every podcast. I'm kidding, but it's a fine app. Not really for beginners. It's more for people who know some things. And then the app and other products are out there and other podcasts you listen to, you'll know what you're doing by then. But for beginners, 2 times a week for a while until you get the hang of it and you like it, because consistency trumps all.